Hi, good morning. Today we're going to look at a situation involving an inequality and to see how graphing an inequality might help us answer some questions. All right, so let's begin. This is page 33 and page 34 from the packet. All right. One of the purposes of the United Nations is to have nations work together to help each other. Recently, the members of the United Nations decided to give grants to poor countries to help reduce poverty. However, the United Nations only has the resources to help those countries in the greatest need. Therefore, it was decided that only countries in which the number of people in poverty is more than 1/2 of its total population would receive foreign aid. Okay. So what they want us to do first is write an inequality. I'm going to say let's do that last. Right, so let's go to the graph. So the question is, who's going to get help? And the condition is that more than half of your people have to be in poverty than the population. So for example, if you have 100 people in your country, that's your population, then you need to have more than half. So more than half would be 50 or more than 50. And so they want to look for countries that have many people living in poverty. All right, so what I'd like you to do right now is, looking at this graph, I want you to tell me which countries do you think are going to need help. All right, so let's look at the graph a little more carefully together and see if you want to change your answer. So the population, let's take, for example, Morocco. Oh goodness, I need my glasses here. So Morocco looks like this is 30, 31, 32. So this is about 32 million people in Morocco. And coming over here, the number of people that are in poverty are about 6 million. So if there are 32 million in the population and there are 6 million living in poverty, is that more than half? So no, Morocco would not get foreign aid. I'd like you to pause again and see if you want to change any of your answers. All right, let's go ahead and take a look again. So now let's move back to the question about coming up with an inequality. What hopefully you saw was Morocco doesn't get foreign aid. Okay, what about Sri Lanka? You can kind of do the same thing, 20 compared to 5. No, Sri Lanka is not going to get foreign aid. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what that graph might look like. All right. So it says, let X represent the population and Y represents the number of in poverty. So it says more than half. So if I take the entire population and take half of it, I want that to be the number of poverty. That sounded awful. What I'm trying to say is, if I know the population and I take half of that population, okay, that answer, that total value, needs to be more than the population itself. So in other words, this represents the number of people in poverty. The number of people in poverty has to be more than half of the population. The number of people in poverty is more than 1/2 of the population. Cool? So now let's go ahead and graph that. And I'm going to put it y equals 1/2 x. Oops, this is going to be greater than. So let's go ahead and graph that. My y-intercept is 0. And my slope is 1/2. The scale matches, so I can go up 1/2. I'm going to start at 0, up 1/2, up 1/2. I'm going to kind of just be real careful, up 1/2, up 1/2, and we kind of see this. Now, is this going to be a solid or dotted line? Well, remember, it was this. And it's going to be a dotted line. I hope I did that right, because I got to make sure. I'm just going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, just to make sure I didn't get sloppy on this. Oh, I started to. I think we're okay. All right, there we go. So now the question is, if we've already decided that Monaco wasn't going to get help, neither is Sri Lanka, what does that tell you about everything on this side? These are the people who get no help. So looking at that, which countries do you think will get help? All right, let's go back to one country in particular, Rwanda. The question is, does Rwanda get help? Well, Rwanda's on the line, and this is a dotted line. Since this is a dotted line, Rwanda doesn't get help because they're at 50%. So the only countries that get help are these. All right, so that's how we can use a graph to help us decide, to make decisions when it involves inequalities. All right, what I'd like you to do right now is go ahead and pause the video, try to do these 2 problems, and I'm going to go over both of them. All right, let's check your answers. So let's plot the 0.5. We're going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. I know this is a solid line. I'm just going to go ahead and connect this. Right, let's test this point, 0, 0. So 0 less than or equal to 0, 0 less than or equal to 5, that's true. So I'm going to shade down. Let's check this one. I'm going to start at -1, go up 2 over 3. This is a dotted line. It's going to look something like that. I'm going to test the point 0, 0. So this goes away. So 0 greater than -1, that is true. So this side is true. I'm going to go ahead and shade this side. All right. Hopefully these are getting a little bit easier for you. If not, make sure you talk to your teacher in office hours.